12 incredible years on The Big Bang Theory didn't just change their careers. It rewrote their entire lives. Picture this, a sitcom so massive it turned a group of relatively unknown actors into household names, raking in millions of fans and millions of dollars.
There's a lot of pressure on how to end this, and fans wanted to know what was going to happen, so it was tough, and I think that they did it.
But when the lights dimmed and the camera stopped rolling in 2019, that's when the real roller coaster kicked off. Forget the scripted laughs. These stars faced courtroom battles, jaw-dropping career pivots, and secrets that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew about the show. One of them said "see ya" to their American citizenship just for a movie gig. And the wildest twist of all? The actor we all fell in love with wasn't even supposed to be there. Yep, total fluke. Now, they're peeling back the curtain, dishing on the rivalries that simmered off-screen, the flops that stung, and the wins that caught everyone off guard. Let's dive into the chaos, starting with the one and only Kaley Cuoco.
Chaos theory suggests that even in a deterministic system, if the equations describing its behavior are nonlinear...
For 12 straight seasons, Kaley Cuoco was the girl next door we couldn't get enough of. Penny, the blonde bombshell with a sharp wit and a knack for stealing scenes. She was the heart of The Big Bang Theory, the glue that held those nerdy geniuses together. But when the show wrapped up in May 2019, it wasn't just the end of an era, it was the end of the biggest, cushiest gig of her life. She'd spent over a decade in that role, growing up on set, laughing through takes, and building a fan base that adored her every move. Suddenly, it was over. Done. Finito. And Kaley? She had a choice to make. Coast on that sitcom fame, maybe pop up in a few nostalgic reruns, or prove she was more than just Penny, more than the sarcastic waitress with a heart of gold. She didn't even flinch. Instead of kicking back and waiting for Hollywood to hand her the perfect part, she said, "Nah, I'm doing this my way." She rolled up her sleeves, took a deep breath, and launched into a whole new chapter, one that nobody saw coming, not even her closest pals. First move? She started her own production company. Yep, you heard that right. Kaley Cuoco, the sitcom star, became Kaley Cuoco, the boss. She named it, yes, Norman Productions, a sweet nod to her beloved dog Norman, who'd been her furry sidekick through thick and thin. And she didn't waste a single second getting down to business. Her first big swing was The Flight Attendant, a slick, twisty HBO Max series that hit screens in November 2020. Kaley stepped into the role of Cassie Bowden, a hot mess flight attendant who wakes up next to a dead guy after a wild night she can't quite piece together. This wasn't Penny cracking jokes over pizza. This was dark, messy, and raw. Cassie was a train wreck with a drinking problem, stumbling through a murder mystery with bloodshot eyes and a shaky grip on reality. It was a total 180 from the laugh track life Kaley had lived for years, and she crushed it. She didn't just play Cassie, she became her, diving headfirst into the chaos and showing off a dramatic range that left jaws on the floor. The show was a smash hit, racking up millions of streams and earning her nominations for an Emmy and a Golden Globe. Critics couldn't stop talking about it, fans were obsessed, and Kaley? She'd just rewritten her own story. But she wasn't about to rest on her laurels. While The Flight Attendant was still buzzing, she jumped into another gig, voicing Harley Quinn in the animated series that kicked off in 2019. This wasn't your typical cartoon gig. The show was bold, bloody, and dripping with dark humor, and Kaley brought Harley to life with a wild, unhinged energy that was totally her own. She gave the iconic villain a fresh twist, part punk rock, part tornado, and fans ate it up. It was another feather in her cap, another one that proved she could do anything she set her mind to. And still, she kept going. In 2022, she starred in Meet Cute, a quirky rom-com with Pete Davidson, playing a woman caught in a time loop love story. Then, in 2023, she led a dark comedy series based on a true crime tale, digging into America's weird obsession with murder podcasts and cold cases. Some naysayers muttered that her characters were starting to feel a little too Cassie-adjacent, all messy women with big problems, but Kaley didn't let it faze her. She just kept charging forward, eyes on the next prize. And that next prize? It's a doozy. She's prepping to play Doris Day, yep, the Doris Day, the Golden Age Hollywood icon, in an upcoming biographical series. It's a massive undertaking, stepping into the shoes of a legend known for her sunny charm and powerhouse talent. If Kaley pulls it off, and let's be real, she's got the grit to do it, this could launch her into a stratosphere she's never touched before. Think Oscar buzz, think red carpet domination, think a whole new Kaley Cuoco era. She's never shied away from getting real about the ride. After the Big Bang Theory ended, she admitted she was terrified, legit scared that nothing would ever match that high. 12 years, 279 episodes, and a paycheck that hit $1 million per episode at its peak. It was a mountain of success most actors only dream of. But instead of trying to recreate that sitcom magic, she zigged when everyone expected her to zag. She chased projects that sparked something in her, roles that pushed her limits and kept her hungry. That fire? It's been burning since way before she ever stepped onto that soundstage. Even back in her Big Bang days, things weren't always smooth sailing behind the scenes. Take 2017, for instance. Kaley in the original cast, Jim Parsons, Johnny Galecki, Simon Helberg, and Kunal Nayyar, agreed to take a pay cut. Why? To bump up the salaries of Mayim Bialik and Melissa Rauch, who joined later and weren't raking in the same dough. It was a classy move, but it didn't come without some grumbling and tension in the ranks. Then came the real gut punch. In 2018, Jim Parsons dropped the bomb that he was leaving. Kaley had no clue it was coming. She thought they'd keep going, maybe squeeze out a few more seasons. But Jim's exit meant the end of the line, and when the news hit her, it felt like a blindside tackle. The show wrapped in 2019, and while she loved every second of playing Penny, the finale left a sour taste. That surprise pregnancy twist for her character? Kaley wasn't a fan. She felt it didn't fit Penny's arc, like it undid years of growth for a cheap plot twist. She said it out loud too, no sugarcoating, just straight-up honesty. Now, let's shift gears to Jim Parsons. Jim Parsons is Sheldon Cooper, or at least, he was for 12 glorious seasons. He took that socially awkward, brainiac weirdo and turned him into a cultural icon, the kind of character you quote at dinner parties and meme into oblivion. For primetime Emmys, a Golden Globe, and a legion of fans later, Jim was sitting pretty as one of TV's biggest stars. By the time The Big Bang Theory bowed out in 2019, he banked around $177.7 million from the show alone, or $1 million an episode at his peak, plus syndication cash that kept the checks rolling in. In 2018, CBS came knocking with a $50 million offer to keep the party going for 2 more seasons. Most people would have signed on the dotted line faster than you can say bazinga, but Jim? He said no thanks. He felt the story had run its course, and he was ready to hang up Sheldon's comic book tees for good. But he didn't vanish from the Big Bang universe entirely. He stuck around as the narrator and executive producer of Young Sheldon, the prequel spin-off that traced little Sheldon's quirky childhood in Texas. That gig kept him tied to the franchise through 2024, giving fans a familiar voice while he explored new horizons. And explore he did. In 2020, he popped up in Netflix's Hollywood, a glitzy Ryan Murphy series about the golden age of Tinseltown. He played Henry Wilson, a sleazy, ruthless talent agent with a knack for making stars and breaking souls. It was a far cry from Sheldon's nerdy innocence, and Jim earned an Emmy nod for the role, proof he could slay outside the sitcom sandbox. Then, in 2022, he went full-on tearjerker with Spoiler Alert, a romantic drama based on journalist Michael Ausiello's memoir about love, loss, and saying goodbye. Jim played Michael, pouring his heart into a performance that had critics gushing about his emotional depth. It was raw, real, and a million miles from laugh tracks. Fast forward to 2024, and he made a triumphant return to Broadway, starring in Our Town at the Ethel Barrymore Theater. As the stage manager, he guided audiences through Thornton Wilder's classic tale of life and love, his voice steady and his presence magnetic. That same year, he teamed up with Jessica Lange in Paula Vogel's Mother Play, another stage role that showed off his dramatic chops. From sitcom king to theater titan, Jim was rewriting his own script, one bold move at a time. He's a producer too, and a damn good one. Since 2015, he and his husband Todd Spielwick have run That's Wonderful Productions, churning out gems like Special, an Emmy-nominated series that ran from 2019 to 2021. It followed a gay man with cerebral palsy navigating life and love, funny, heartfelt, and totally fresh. Jim's always been drawn to stories that lift up voices you don't hear every day, and it shows. So, what about Sheldon? Fans keep asking if he'll ever come back. He's joked it'd take reincarnation to play that role again, but he's left the door cracked for a cameo in a Big Bang spinoff. With the franchise still growing, think Young Sheldon and beyond, a quick Sheldon pop-in isn't off the table. Simon Helberg's story is a little different. He didn't stroll into the Big Bang Theory dreaming of sitcom stardom. Before 2007, he was just another actor grinding it out in Hollywood, taking whatever gigs he could land. Then he scored Howard Wolowitz, the loudmouth aerospace engineer. With a closet full of tight pants and gaudy belt buckles, the show blew up, becoming a global juggernaut, and for 12 years, Simon rode that wave. Howard was a fan favorite, part nerd, part wannabe ladies' man, all heart, and Simon played him to perfection. But when the final episode aired in 2019, he faced the same question as his co-stars. What's next? How do you top a role that defined you for over a decade? He didn't miss a beat. In 2021, he jumped into Annette, a musical drama starring Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard. He played the accompanist, a shadowy, complicated figure who's nothing like Howard's brash vibe. It was artsy, intense, and a total departure, and get this, Simon even became a French citizen for a hot minute to help with the film's funding. Okay, it didn't end up being necessary, but the guy's commitment was next level. Critics loved it, hailing him as a serious player in the drama game. He kept the momentum going with a guest spot on Peacock's Poker Face, playing a hilariously clueless FBI agent in a one-episode arc that flexed his comedy roots. Simon's no newbie to the big leagues. Back in 2016, he nabbed a Golden Globe nod for Florence Foster Jenkins, acting alongside Meryl Streep and Hugh Grant as a wide-eyed pianist caught in a wild true story. He's popped up in films like A Serious Man and Space Oddity, flipping between laughs and heavy moments like it's nothing. Off-screen, he's kept it low-key, married to actress Jocelyn Towne since 2007, raising 2 kids, living the good life. In 2023, they listed their LA estate for sale. Maybe they're eyeing a change of scenery. Maybe they just want a new vibe. Who knows? Here's the craziest part. Years after the show ended, Simon found out he wasn't the original Howard. Nope, Kevin Sussman, the guy who'd later play Stewart, had the role first. A scheduling conflict with another project forced Kevin to bow out, and Simon swooped in. When he heard the news in 2022, he was stunned, like, wait, I almost missed this? But grateful the stars aligned. That twist of fate turned him into a sitcom legend, and he's been running with it ever since. Johnny Galecki's journey after The Big Bang Theory is a tale of stepping back, slowing down, and finding a new rhythm. For 12 seasons, he was Leonard Hofstadter, the lovable, neurotic physicist who won our hearts with his awkward charm and endless pining for Penny. That role made him a star, a face you couldn't escape if you flipped on the TV. But when the show signed off in 2019, Johnny didn't chase the spotlight like some might have expected. Nope, he flipped the script entirely, trading Hollywood's hustle for a quieter life with a mix of family, passion projects, and a few curveballs most fans never saw coming. Right after the finale, he dipped his toes back into TV, reprising David Healy on The Connors, the Roseanne spinoff that brought him full circle. See, Johnny's roots go way back. He was a kid actor on Roseanne in the 90s, playing Darlene's slacker boyfriend. Returning as David, now a grown-up with baggage and a messy divorce, gave him a chance to flex some new layers. But he didn't stick around long. After a handful of episodes, he shifted gears, stepping behind the camera instead of in front of it. One of his big swings? A.K., a sitcom he co-created with John Quaintance, The Will and Grace Alum. Set in 1991, it followed a ragtag crew trying to launch an internet startup before anyone knew what the internet even was. Johnny took on the executive producer role, pouring his energy into building something fresh. It didn't blow up like Big Bang, but it showed he wasn't afraid to take risks. Acting didn't vanish from his life completely. He just got picky. He snagged roles in indie films, dodging the blockbuster machine for stories that hit harder, meant more. It was a deliberate move, a way to shake off the Leonard label and prove he could stretch beyond sitcom gold. Meanwhile, his personal life took center stage. In late 2019, he and his then-girlfriend Elena Meyer welcomed their son, Orbison, named after the rock legend Roy Orbison, because Johnny's always had a cool streak. But the relationship fizzled, and by 2020, they'd split. Fast forward a few years, and he tied the knot with Morgan Galecki. In 2023, they had a daughter, Una Evelina, and Johnny traded LA's chaos for Nashville's calm. Picture him on a porch, strumming a guitar. Far from the paparazzi flash, that's the vibe he's chasing now. His Big Bang days weren't all smooth, though. Back in 2011, he got hit with Bell's palsy, facial paralysis that left him numb on one side, eyes watering, the works. He powered through, never letting it derail his work, but it was a wake-up call. Off-screen, he's never been shy about speaking his mind, even when it ruffled feathers. After the 2018 Parkland shooting, he went vocal on gun control, tweeting support for tighter laws. Fans flipped, some cheered, Others ditched him, costing him thousands of followers. Johnny didn't blink. He stood his ground, no apologies. Then there's the weird stuff. For 12 years, he'd stick his chewed gum on a hidden set wall, a quirky habit Kunal Nayyar later spilled. And the wildest confession? He's the only cast member who admitted to getting busy in his dressing room during the show's run. Yep, Johnny's full of surprises. Kunal Nayyar, meanwhile, took a different path, one that's all about reinvention. He was Rauch, the shy astrophysicist with a selective mutism gimmick that made him a Big Bang standout. For 12 years, he charmed us with his awkward flirting and Bollywood flair. When the show ended in 2019, Kunal could have coasted on that fame, maybe done a few cameos, cashed the checks. Instead, he went full throttle, diving into roles that flipped everything we thought we knew about him. In 2020, he shocked everyone with Netflix's Criminal, UK. He played Sandeep, a convicted serial killer, cold, calculating, and a million miles from Raj's puppy dog energy. It was dark, gritty, and earned him a Best Supporting Actor nod at the 2021 British Academy Television Awards. Critics were floored. Fans were shook. Kunal had range, and he wasn't afraid to show it. He kept the momentum going. In 2022, he starred opposite Uma Thurman in Apple TV+'s Suspicion, a thriller about a kidnapping that spirals out of control. His shift from sitcom laughs to edge-of-your-seat drama was seamless, like he'd been waiting to unleash this side all along. But he didn't ditch comedy entirely. In 2024, he reunited with Melissa Rauch for a night court guest spot, bringing back that Big Bang chemistry. That same year, he led the rom-com How to Date Billy Walsh, playing a guy caught in a love triangle with a goofy charm. His biggest leap's still ahead. He's set to play Scrooge in Christmas Karma, a Bollywood-style musical take on A Christmas Carol, directed by Gurinder Chadha. Think dazzling dance numbers, a Desi twist, and Kunal front and center. It could be his career-defining moment. Animation's been a sweet spot too. He voiced Guy Diamond in Trolls 2016 and Gupta in Ice Age, Continental Drift 2012, bringing his warm, playful vibe to kids' flicks. Off-screen, he's flexed his creative muscles elsewhere. In 2015, he wrote Yes, My Accent is Real, a memoir about his journey from New Delhi to Hollywood. Funny, heartfelt, and packed with stories like how he almost flunked his first audition. He co-wrote a play, Cotton Candy, that debuted in India and took on Jesse Eisenberg's The Spoils on stage in New York and London. Not everything's been rosy, though. A Big Bang scene where Raj dissed Bollywood stars Madhuri Dixit and Aishwarya Rai sparked outrage, even landing Netflix in a 2023 lawsuit. Kunal stayed mum on it, letting the storm pass. Melissa Rauch's rise is pure underdog magic. Before The Big Bang Theory, she was a Jersey girl grinding it out in comedy clubs, dreaming of a break. That break came in 2009 when she landed Bernadette Rostenkowski-Wolowitz, the pint-sized microbiologist with a voice that could shatter glass and a wit to match. For 10 years, she stole scenes, turning a guest spot into a main gig. When the show ended in 2019, Melissa faced the classic fork in the road: play it safe with more cutesy roles or swing for the fences. She picked the fences. Back in 2015, while still on Big Bang, she co-wrote, co-produced, and starred in The Bronze, a dark comedy about a washed-up Olympic gymnast clinging to faded glory. It premiered at Sundance, and though reviews were mixed, Melissa's bold, brassy performance turned heads. Getting there wasn't easy. Producers wanted a bigger name, not the sitcom sidekick. She fought tooth and nail, proving she could carry a film. Post-Big Bang, she leaned into voice acting, snagging Harley Quinn in 2017's Batman and Harley Quinn. She channeled her Jersey roots into a sassy, scrappy take that fans adored. After a family break, she's married to writer Winston Beigel. With kids born in 2017 and 2020, she roared back in 2023 as Judge Abby Stone in NBC's Night Court revival. She starred and executive produced, crafting a show that mixed laughs with heart. Abby's sunny vibe hit a struggle with alcoholism, giving the role depth. It clicked. NBC greenlit a second season fast. She's kept busy elsewhere, voicing Firebuds, popping up on Celebrity Jeopardy. She didn't win, but she shined. Through After January Productions, she and Winston churn out projects, while she supports kids' cancer charity Oscars Kids. Melissa's proof you don't need to be the loudest in the room to make the biggest impact. Mayim Bialik's story is a wild ride of brains and boldness. She was a 90s teen star on Blossom, then ditched acting for a neuroscience PhD. Talk about a plot twist. Years later, she stormed back as Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory, earning 4 Emmy nods and 2 Critics' Choice Awards. Post-2019, she stayed in the game with Call Me Kat, 2021 to 2023, a quirky sitcom that ended after 3 seasons. In 2022, she directed As They Made Us, a personal drama that hit hard. She also co-hosted Jeopardy! With Ken Jennings from 2021 to 2023, splitting fans. Some loved her smarts, others didn't vibe. Her push for brain supplement Nuriva stirred skeptics too. Mayim's an author too, Girling Up, Boying Up, Beyond the Sling, and Mayim's vegan table breakdown science, parenting, and food with her signature clarity. Her site Grok Nation, 2015 to 2019, tackled big issues, and her podcast Mayim Bialik's Breakdown dives into mental health with partner Jonathan Cohen, sharing her OCD and eating disorder battles. A modern Orthodox Jew, she's vocal about faith and Israel, which sparks both praise and pushback. Controversies followed her. Her 2017 Weinstein op-ed got flack for hinting modesty prevents harassment. She apologized. And early vaccine hesitancy, later reversed, fueled debate. She's still a STEM advocate and a force in 2025. Kevin Sussman's path is pure hustle. Pre-Big Bang, he was a comic book store clerk auditioning on the side. Ironic, since he'd later play Stuart Bloom, the lovable loser who ran the Comic Center. When the show ended in 2019, Kevin didn't fade. He jumped into dramas like Better Call Saul, Mr. Link, and The Dropout, Mark Rosler, showing he could hang with the heavy hitters. Comedy stayed close. He did Call Me Kat with Mayim and nabbed a recurring role as Walter Pine in Lessons in Chemistry. He's a writer too, co-creating Dark Minions with John Ross Bowie, though it never fully launched. Kevin's career predates Stewart. Think Ugly Betty's Walter or films like Almost Famous. Fun fact, he was cast as Howard but lost it to a scheduling clash, landing Stewart later. In 2023, he called out streaming's residual drop. Syndication paid bills, but Max and Prime? Pennies. He's a survivor, thriving on grit. Sarah Gilbert's Hollywood saga is epic. She started as Darlene Connor on Roseanne, 1988 to 1997, a sarcastic teen who nabbed 2 Emmy nods. When Roseanne rebooted in 2018, Sarah was back as actor and executive producer, until Roseanne Barr's racist tweet tanked it. Sarah condemned it, helped pivot to the Connors, and kept the family alive. On Big Bang, she was Leslie Winkle, Leonard's snarky fling, a fan fave who faded to guest status. She created The Talk in 2010, co-hosting till 2019, and acted in ER, 24, and Atypical. Her company Sarah plus Tom produces, and she's an eco-artist with a Yale degree. Drama with Barr aside, she's a steady force. Laura Spencer's rise was stealthy. Born in Oklahoma, she studied theater and hit Big Bang in 2013 as Emily Sweeney, Raj's horror-loving girlfriend. A one-off became a 4-season run. She juggled Bones as Jessica Warren, then starred in 2021's 13 Minutes, a tornado drama with heft. In 2024, she hit Grey's Anatomy and Reservation Dogs. Married to Michael Jack Greenwald since 2019, she's low-key, focused on craft and causes over chaos.